And yesterday was the moment that George Pickens officially became a member of the Cowboys. Passed his physical, trade is done. So he meets with the media. And let's hear directly from the man himself, George Pickens, on now being a member of the Cowboys and having a quarterback, a franchise quarterback for the first time in his career in Dak Prescott.
I feel great. I like the mojo here. I like the swag. Everybody, it's a lot of new players that I've been meeting all around the long way. So I feel like they got a great thing going for sure. I'm grateful, like I said, I'm grateful to be here, and I'm grateful to play with Dak. As far as like roles and stuff like that, I'm just here to work. Whatever role finds me best is where I'm gonna find myself. Yeah, that was one of the first guys that I definitely contacted with was Dak. He just watching his game over the years, he's a very prolific QB and smart QB at that. So I'm just glad to be working with him. CeeDee is a super dynamic receiver, super dynamic player. I just feel like schematically you can't, you won't be able to double everybody. So that'd be a great thing for me and him.
And that's the ultimate football point in all of this. If you're going to devote extra resources to handling CeeDee Lamb, that's good for George Pickens. If George Pickens starts catching 50-yard bombs from Dak Prescott and they start tilting the coverage his way, Lamb is going to benefit from it. And the challenge for Dak Prescott in any given moment is going to be to figure out which guy has the favorable matchup and taking advantage of it. And that's what he needs to get both players to understand. It's less for CeeDee Lamb because he's gotten paid. George Pickens is the one who's trying to get paid. That's the one thing that complicates all of this. Hovering over everything. Pickens doesn't have a contract beyond this year. He wants to earn one, a significant one. He has the talent to justify it. Now he has to have the production to justify it if he's ever going to get it from the Cowboys, which will be difficult to do if he plays at a $30 million a year level. Could they ever do that when they have a guy at 34? Whether it's them or someone else, that's the challenge for him in 2025.
Yeah, it is. And, George Pickens is just such an enigma to me that, I don't know if this, kind of good feeling, rah-rah stuff is going to last for him with the Cowboys. I don't think anybody really knows that. And so because of that, it's kind of like, well, how can Dak Prescott kind of massage everybody's ego as the quarterback in the huddle to say, hey, this is what we have to do. This is what we know is going to work, or what we believe is going to work going into any given matchup. I mean, a lot of that is going to be Brian Schottenheimer as well, right? I mean, as the head coach and the offensive play call, that's something that they're going to have to work through. And they've got to make guys understand on a week-to-week basis, hey, this is what the game plan is, and this is why, because we feel like this matchup is favorable for this reason against these coverages that this team likes to play, against this cornerback that you're likely going to be matched up against. And so that, I don't know how well Brian Schottenheimer is going to do that. I no offense to Brian Schottenheimer, but it's been a while since we've seen him call plays, especially call plays at a high level in the National Football League. So I don't really know how that's going to work out. But the theory, I see it and I understand it. And honestly, I like it, especially with Dak Prescott coming off the kind of injury that he's coming off of, right? You want to get him as many high quality targets as you possibly can. You want to give him a strong running game as you possibly can. So all these things seem to be working in concert for the Cowboys right now. And that's a positive thing.
You make a great point about all of the positivity flowing from George Pickens yesterday. No relationship will ever be better than it is on the way in. It could be the same, but it's never going to be better. This is the high water mark of the good feelings because we have yet to see the intervention of reality. And what happens when you think you're open every play and you get 3 targets over the course of a 60-minute football game, which is what happened often in Pittsburgh. But there is reason to believe things could be different. And the key, and Jason Garrett explained this the other day when we dragged him onto the show as we ripped up the rundown, thanks to the Cowboys turning the news coverage upside down with the news of the Pickens trade. It's going to be for Dak to strike the right tone, maintain the right relationship, and get George Pickens to buy in and do everything he needs to do even if he's not getting the ball as often as he'd like. And the challenge for Pickens is to adapt to this new reality where he's not the number one receiver. He had been in Pittsburgh. He's now clearly the second option. What can he do to make the most out of that and position himself for a positive future in the NFL with the Cowboys or with someone else? And it's clear right now that there's nobody else out there that wanted George Pickens, or there would have been competition for his services with the Cowboys, and a trade would have happened before the draft.
Yeah, that's also true. And, you know, when you look at George Pickens and what he's done in the National Football League so far in his career, I mean, there are plays where he shows you how outstanding he can be as a receiver. He's one of those guys that, you know, Jamar Chase likes to say, I'm like 7-Eleven, always bleeping open. Like, if you throw it to George Pickens and you give him a chance, there's a large opportunity for him to come down with the football. I mean, look at some of the plays that are on the highlight reel for him. So that's where, as long as he is going to be a positive force, you know, in the locker room and on the team, then that's going to be great. But you just don't know with George Pickens because, I mean, there could be a Hail Mary play at the end of a game, and he might be tussling with two defenders in the end zone instead of actually like being a part of things. And you're like, dude, you are so talented. What are you doing? The game's still going on here. It's not time to fight. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. He's like one of those guys that sometimes I just want to have a conversation with and be like, dude, like, don't you realize how talented you are? Don't you realize the opportunity that you have in front of you? And I can imagine that Mike Tomlin had that discussion with him like more than once. And so that's probably why they then go out and get DK Metcalf and then, you know, probably quietly put George Pickens on the trade block, right? Until somebody else decides, yeah, we'll go get him, you know, like, because it just doesn't make sense sometimes how he acts on the field and then how he acts off the field, you know? So like, I want this to work because I see George Pickens as such a talented receiver, and maybe he did just need that change of scenery to get him to lock in to what he needs to do in order to be great, because he's got the talent to be great. It's just, you know, what's going on above the neck sometimes needs to be cleared up. And I hope that this happens with the Cowboys.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.